Hello, St. Peter's. Welcome back to our summer reading adventures. This time we're on episode number 8. That means we are halfway through our summer reading adventures. I can't believe it. I'll have some exciting news coming up for you in a couple weeks after I get some things planned out for an end of the summer celebration. My friends are so excited for today's story. We loved hearing the story about the Hopamelion, which was really a frog, last week or on Monday. So we're going to keep up with our frog theme for the week and read another story, this time about kind of a cranky frog. Let's find out if our friends are ready. You guys ready? We have Ralph, we have Douglas, Daisy, Magic Monkey, and of course the Pig of Joy is here with her jar of joy, of course, so we can spread that joy at the end of our time. Let's see what we have in our adventure pack today. All right, water bottle, of course, because it's summertime and it's hot, hot, hot. Let me see what's in here. Ooh, there's a motorcycle driving by. Do you hear that sound? Always different sounds in the summer. I hear a lot of birds today too. I have my book. All you're gonna need today is paper, a pencil, and a crayon. That's all you'll need for our project today. All right, I'm ready to share my story with you. Are you ready? Are you guys ready? All right, let's do it. Let's get ready for our story. Let's turn up our ears so we're ready to listen. Turn off our mouths so we don't make a sound. Put your hands quietly in your lap. Take a nice big deep breath. And now we're ready for our story. Look at this. Here's another froggy. This is called A Froggy Fable by John Lechner. Look at that froggy. What does his face look like right now? Not very happy, is it? He kind of looks, I don't know, maybe sad, maybe bored, maybe annoyed, but he certainly is not smiling. Let's see why this froggy is not very happy. Look at him. He's got a nice little house with some rocks, a pond. Let's see what it says. Once there was a frog who lived under a rock by himself. Oh, maybe he's lonely. Every day he did the same thing. He swam into the pond to eat breakfast. He jumped onto a log to enjoy the sun. Then he swam back to his hole under the big rock. It was a simple life, but he liked it because it was always the same. Then one day, things started to change. A family of otters moved into the pond and started splashing around. "Hey," said the frog, "I don't like those otters splashing in my pond." A flock of blue jays moved into the trees overhead, and they squawked all the time. "Hey, I don't like those birds making noise," the frog said. And one day, lightning struck the tallest pine tree, which crashed into the water, spilling pine needles everywhere. "Hey, I don't like that tree in my pond," said the frog. But there was nothing he could do about it. Maybe that's why he's so cranky. The frog crawled into the back of his hole, and he stayed there. He heard a voice behind him. "Why are you so sad?" It was a small caterpillar. "I'm sad because everything is changing," said the frog. "Oh, I'm glad things change," the caterpillar replied. "Someday I hope to change into a butterfly. Trees change, flowers change, even mountains and mighty rivers." The frog just turned back toward the wall. He wanted to cry. The caterpillar left, but the frog stayed in his hole. Then one day, something utterly unexpected happened. Sometimes things changing can be a little bit scary, and maybe he's a little bit scared too. He just doesn't even know it. Let's see the unexpected thing that happens. The rock over the frog's hole was lifted into the air. Oh, to the poor frog's bewilderment, a jar came down on top of him, and he was whisked away in the hands of a young boy. Oh no, he was captured. Needless to say, nothing like this had ever happened to the frog before. The terrified frog was jostled and bumped on the boy's bike. They traveled for a long time when suddenly the bike hit a rock. The jar went flying, and the frog fell behind some tall weeds. He sat very still until it was safe. Phew. When the frog finally crept out, he found himself in a strange and unfamiliar place. He was lost. Oh no, all I see are trees like the woods. I don't see his pond anywhere. The frog wandered until it got dark. Then he took shelter for the night. He found a tree. He took shelter for the night in a hollow tree. The next morning, he kept on hopping, but just seemed to get more lost. He just can't find his pond. Weeks went by, and the frog encountered many dangers. Oh, like a snake. Snakes like to eat frogs. He had to get away from that guy. So he's been gone for weeks. Oh my goodness. Look, I see a rainbow. Oh, and he saw many wonders. So even though things were scary, he also saw some amazing things, like that beautiful rainbow over the mountains. Then one afternoon, when he had just about given up all hope of finding his home, he heard a noise from far away. Squawk, squawk! A familiar noise. Do you remember anything that was at his pond that was squawking all the time and really annoyed him? Yes, the blue jays. He's hearing them now from far away. Good thing they're squawkers. He raced through the forest toward the sound, and as he got closer, he heard splashing. Splashing? Who's doing the splashing? Right, the otters were splashing around. Finally, he emerged into a clearing and saw a beautiful pond. His pond. He was so happy to see the blue jays flapping overhead. He was so happy to see the otters splashing in the water. He was even happy to see the fallen tree right where he'd left it. He knew he was home. That's why he was so happy, because all of those things were home. True, his old rock had been torn away, but he found a perfect spot to dig another hole with an even better view. It was his new home. After that day, the frog didn't mind so much when things changed. He could handle anything. He even tried something new once in a while. Oh, who do you think that is? Yes, that little caterpillar that talked to him did become a butterfly. Now he's jumping off the rocks into the water. That looks like fun. And things were never the same again. But I have a feeling this time, things not being the same were okay with the frog, because look at his face. He looks happy. He looks content. He looks so like he's in such a wonderful mood to be home, even with some things that might annoy him a little while, like splashing otters. We could have that too. Sometimes maybe things at home always seem like, oh, it's the same thing every day. But then you go away for a little while and you're like, I really miss my home. Even my annoying little brother, right? Or big sister, or whoever might be annoying. But once you leave them and you come back, you realize how special all of those things are. So today, we're gonna show Froggy's change, and I'm gonna show you how to draw Froggy. So here's what I did. I'm gonna show you first and then we'll do it together. I decided to draw my picture two-sided. First, I drew Froggy, kind of sad, sitting in his rock home all by himself. And see how I outlined things, but then I kind of just colored everything gray. And I did that because I felt he was kind of feeling gray inside. Like that's the color I would describe him. But then, when he got lost and scared and had to find his way back home, when he came home, wow, look at how colorful his life became. And he's smiling, he's happy to see everyone. And I made a lot of details. I'm gonna show you how to do all of those details, okay? So details are all of the little things. Now we could just draw a picture of Froggy and that would be great, but I thought it might be more special to put in all those things that make his home a home, like the splashing otters and the fallen pine tree and the squawking blue jays and his friend the butterfly. Would you like to see how to make him? Okay, so all you need is a pencil and your crayons and a piece of paper. So I'm gonna get my pencil and I'm gonna get my crayons and I'm gonna get my piece of paper. Look at that easy. So this Froggy is a little bit shaped a little bit differently than some other Froggies. He's kind of square. So watch this trick that I figured out to show you. Before we draw Froggy's body, the first thing we're gonna draw actually are his eyes. Yeah, his eyes. So kind of, here's the middle of your paper. Go down a little bit from the middle of your paper, about right there, and you're gonna draw two big froggy eyes next to each other. Just like that. So it's not at the top and it's not way at the bottom because we need room for his body, okay? Draw those froggy eyes. Next, we're gonna make his body. So first, let's put a little line between his eyes. He doesn't really have a nose, but that's kind of like, you know, the space of his head. Then you're gonna start on the outside of one of the eyes and you're just gonna draw a line down, like that. Then you're gonna start on the outside of his other eye and draw another line down. So that's the base of his body. Now we're gonna make ovals. So remember, ovals are long, skinny circles. And here's how we're gonna do it. You're gonna start at the bottom. Now watch me first. And then you're gonna draw an oval, but we're not gonna close it at the bottom. I'm just gonna go down to there. If you close it up, that's okay, no big deal. Then you're gonna go on the other side where you ended his body, and you're gonna make another oval. Now, if you close it up, it'll just look like that. That's okay, okay? You can leave it open or you can close it up. Then we're gonna make, if you see, then he has some feet. So we're gonna make two rectangles. I'm gonna start at the bottom of the oval and I'm gonna go down, over, up, a rectangle. I'm gonna do it over here. Down, over, up, a rectangle. So now it's like he has some feet. But he also has those arms, his other two legs, coming from his body. Those are just straight lines. So you're gonna kind of start in the middle of his body and just go straight down and make another one just next to it. Those are called parallel lines, okay? So that looks like one arm. They go right next to each other. Those are parallel lines. Close, but not touching. Now we're gonna do another set on the other side of his body. So you draw one line and another line down. And then just below those arms, we're just gonna put like a line, so that's the bottom of his body. So now we have a frog. Uh-oh, he doesn't have a mouth. Well, I'm gonna show you, we're gonna draw the happy picture. And then later on your own, if you wanna draw the not so happy picture, you can do that later. So the happy, I'm gonna give him a nice big smile all the way across his face. And then he needs a little dot in each eyeball for his pupil so he can see. Look at that Froggy, that's pretty cool. That's why I'm using a pencil, because what if I didn't like something and I wanted to change it? So for instance, like we closed this oval, maybe we want it to be one thing so we can erase that line. So before we color it, it'll look like one solid piece. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so he is sitting, so like from behind him, we're just gonna make kind of a wavy line. That's gonna be his sandy area where he sits, off outside of the pond. And then a pond with water, sometimes when you show water, you make these scoops like this. Scoop, 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 scoop. We do this in kindergarten, and sometimes they call them baby butt cheeks. Isn't that silly? Because if you just look at one set of them, I think that's pretty funny. So we're gonna make the water our little scoopy swirls, but not all the way up, because on his book, he also has some mountains behind him, right? So we're gonna put kind of like a half circle at the top, just to cut off his pond. And then we're gonna make some mountains. And all it is are just some big wavy lines, okay? So we have his sand down here, his water, and his mountains, and the sky will be up here. So that's what I'm talking about, details. Now that's the backdrop. So you're gonna get your crayons and you're gonna create your backdrop, right? So I'm gonna get a green crayon for Froggy, and when you start coloring him in, he'll really start to have some personality. So color in your Froggy. I'm making him green because that's the color he was in the book. He was pretty true green. He wasn't even a light green. But if you want a different color, it's okay. It's your picture, right? And then I'm gonna color those other shapes that I made to make his legs. So take your time when you're coloring this time, right? And then you're gonna do the other leg. Now, because we have all of those details inside, like his arms and things, if you take your crayon and you just push harder and trace the lines, it'll help you see them a little bit better. And I'm gonna trace his eyes like that, but I'll leave his pupils that black so that they look standing out, okay? So I got him all colored all the way down. His body's down here. He needs a little more color down there. There's our frog. And then he was on a sandy beach. So I'm just gonna take this peachy color, and we're gonna, this one I'm gonna make it kind of like not colored in perfectly, because after I do this base beachy color, kind of on the base, like that's kind of squiggly and squirrely, I'm gonna take like maybe some brown, and I can put speckles, like the sand. If you look at sand on a beach, it's not all one color. Maybe there's some yellowy speckles in the sand, right? You can speckle your sand however you want, but see, now he's sitting on the sand. Then it's time for the water. So you can take whatever color blue that you have, and I would trace over those, push down a little bit harder, but don't break your crayon. You don't have to push really hard. You're just gonna make those lines pretty distinct so we can see those are the water lines, just like that. And the same thing for the top edge of your pond. And then use the side of your crayon to kind of color it in a little bit. Now again, this doesn't have to be colored solid, because that would show kind of that the water is moving a little bit. When the wind blows across the pond, the water might be moving. There's our pond. Next we have the mountains. Now sometimes the mountains looked a little bit gray, but then sometimes, I'll show you, they looked green back there because they're full of trees on the mountain. So I kind of liked that idea that they were green and trees. So I'm gonna do this with my green crayon, but I'm gonna make it swirly. So it kind of resembles trees in a distance. So if you color making circles, see that, swirly? I'm just going in a circle, but I'm going real fast. And you swirl it all the way. Now, if you have different colors of green, you could swirl in different colors of green. That would be pretty neat. Because all leaves aren't just one solid color green, are they? So we're swirling that in. So let's say, for example, it's kind of fun too. I have a lighter green, a yellow green. So I can swirl that into it and see how it gives it a little bit more, it's called definition, gives it a little more color. Okay, and you can keep playing with that when we add more details. So then the same thing, you're gonna take a blue for the sky and just give it a light dusting, because we have other things to put in this sky. All right, now come the details. I use details from the story, okay? For example, the butterfly. So in the book, he was yellow. So I'll make him yellow this time. On my picture, I made him pink. I don't know why, I just felt like it. So when you make a butterfly, I'll show you. you're gonna make a body, just another little oval with a little head on top. And then the wings, you're just gonna go like this. Kind of like you're making an M, but don't come to the middle. Don't touch all the way down. There it is. And then he needs some little antennas, right? So he can use his senses. Now you can color that in any way you want. You can give him spots or stripes. That's up to you. Then I made some blue jays because those were the other things in his world, right? Blue jays flying in the sky. So I kind of colored this first. So maybe I can color a circle. I'm gonna color over it. I'll just color it darker. And then you make an oval, right? Then we're gonna give him some wings. And your wings can be however you want your wings to be, just sticking out a little bit. And we use a little bit of orange for his beak so you can see it better. Okay, there's a bird. Now, if you wanted to draw some birds way off in the distance over the mountains, I'll show you this clever trick that I learned. You get a black crayon or any dark crayon, purple, blue. All you do is make two little humps, but you're gonna go kind of like you're making the letter M, but you're gonna go down and down. Ready? It goes like this. You're gonna hump 1, 2. See that? And it looks like birds. And you can make them tiny. 1, 2. In the distance, I'll make one over here. Hump and a hump. So those are the birds flying in the distance. What else? He had blue jays splashing. He had the butterfly came back to see him. Oh, the otters. So the otters are brown. And since we can't see their whole body when they're swimming, I made my otter sticking out of one of these splashes. So I just made a half a circle for the head poking out, colored it in. And then I took a black crayon and I gave him a little nose right here, right? And a little smile and a little eye. Oh, I forgot, with my brown crayon I can make some ears on the top of his head. So there's the little otter peeking out. And then there was one more thing, do you remember, that annoyed him? Yes, the tree fell down. So take that brown crayon and let's make a trunk. It can come out from either side that you want it to. So let's make it come from this side. I did the other side on my other paper. So I'm just gonna make a straight out trunk like that. Just straight, sticking out. And then it's an evergreen tree. So for the pine needles and the branches, I just went like this, watch. Jiggity jag. So you're kind of making triangles and coloring them in. You can make as many or as few as you want because this tree fell in the water. So it lost some of its pine needles too, right? So I'm just jigging, jagging it out. That's my new word for the pine tree, jigging, jagging. And then I even added some fish. It wasn't in the story, but I wanted more details. Here's how you make a fish. Make a oval, and then you put a little triangle on his back, like that. Color it in. I'll show you another one. Make an oval, and a triangle is like this. If you start in the middle, you just go diagonal, over, and up. It's almost like our stars. Now that's a lot of details that we put in here. You might think of more details. Think of things you would see around the pond. Maybe you could draw a fly for the frog to eat. Maybe you could draw the caterpillar when he was still a caterpillar. Think of other things you can find around a pond. A dragonfly, you could do that. As many details as you want. You can take your time. This is a beautiful day to sit outside. If you have a clipboard or something that you can write on, you could sit under a tree and just color in your pond. And if you do that, I would love to see them in the comments. Now, if you want to do like mine, on the other side, I drew it very gray, and he's in his first house. So you can look at it. I'm not going to show you because I think now you know how to make Froggy. If you forgot, rewind a little bit and it shows you how again. And then I just drew his rock house. So that way you can have it double-sided. One side, two sides. So that's your adventure for today. Draw your Froggy Pond home habitat. Somewhere so happy that the frog would love to come home to. I'm really glad that he learned that it was nice to share his home with some other friends. That was nice. Guess what? We have to color in another spot on our summer reading adventure log. And I know there's no frogs here. We talked about that last time, right? Because we did the alligator. Let's pick a different animal. Let's see what we still need to color in. How about something in the middle? What about the lion? Oh no, not the lion. I think I have a story about a lion. Let's do this rhinoceros. Let's do the rhinoceros today. So this is a rhinoceros. He has that horn on his head. He's right next to the pink and purple camel that we made. And let's see, this time I'm gonna use red. I don't think we've really used red before for any of our animals. I'm gonna color my red rhinoceros. They both start with R. So maybe this rhinoceros will have some stripes like this. So he's gonna be dressed up like a zebra. And then I'm gonna color his face in red. Now this is up to you. If you choose to do something else, that's okay. It's kind of neat to think of different ways to color these animals because they have such fun expressions on their face. And then, what should we put on his nose? How about what other colors do I have here? How about a green horn for his rhino? That's pretty cool. Whoa, let's count how many we've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have completed 8 stories in our summer reading adventure. Halfway done. Can you believe it? Give yourself a pat on the back. Good job. If you missed any of them, you can scroll back in Facebook and find them all. Or today I'm going to put a link in the comments to my YouTube page that you can find all of the videos that I have ever done from the start of the pandemic. Okay, so you can catch up if you need to. That I will do once I post it. Okay, we have one more thing to do. We need to spread some joy. Come on, Joy. We sang a fun song last time. I wonder how we're going to spread our joy today. Let's see what we come up with. Whoa. Oh, this one's so nice and so easy. Share your smile. Have you ever seen someone, they walk around like this, and you just smile at them and all of a sudden they go, oh, and then they smile too. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna smile at everyone we see. You don't even have to say anything. Just pay attention and see how contagious your smile can be. Because you might make that person smile, and then they may smile at the next person, and pretty soon everyone is smiling and feeling a little bit better about their day. That was so fun. I hope you enjoyed our Froggy week. I can't wait to see your pond pictures with all of the details. I will pay attention to every detail, I promise. All right, so have a great weekend, boys and girls. We'll see you on Monday with a special episode, so don't forget to tune in. But until then, you know what to do. Keep spreading your joy.